Hi everyone, welcome back to Java 1 for All. In this video, we are going to talk about a special type. It's not a primitive, but we are going to use so much throughout this course that's kind of good to know it right now with primitives. So its name is string. As we can see, we have been using mostly numbers with one exception, the character, but strings are kind of special in Java, and we are going to talk a lot about strings in the future. But first, you need to understand two things. First, string is not a primitive type, and second, it is a reference type. So if it is not a primitive, you probably imagine that we should not write lowercase. Why? Because, well, it doesn't exist. String, and we are going to see it later, is a class. And since we are following the Java conventions, how should we write classes? Exactly, with the first letter uppercase. And now it is basically the same as you did for all the primitive types. You have to use an identifier. The identifier cannot be a keyword. So you can use anything that's not a reserved word in Java. For example, I can use name. And here we can initialize by using the same pattern, equal sign. And now for strings, we should use double quotes. If you try to use single quotes, you will notice that we have a compilation error. And if you just hover over, it's going to tell you that empty character literal. So if you try to do this, you have a problem. If you try to add more than one letter, you also have a problem. So the syntax for strings are double quotes. And as you can see, we do have now our code with no compilation errors. So we have here string name Goku. And how can we actually print that? Well, let me show you another shortcut. You know that for public static void main, you have a PSVM and then you press tab. And for system out println, you do have south. And then you can press tab and you get the same thing as you have here. Now I will print the name, Ctrl Shift F10 to compile and execute. And we have the name Goku being displayed in the console. Now, what if you would like to say, hi, I am Goku? Well, the same as you did for age, you can use double quotes here, then you use concatenation, and whatever message you type here, it will just show up with the value you have inside the memory. So, hi, I am, and then the name. So basically, this is going to get the value that you have here in this string, and then it's going to print the value that you have inside our memory here. William, if I'm doing this right here, can I do it here? Yes, of course. So let's first execute this and then see the results. So, hi, I am Goku, and I can also do the same. Hi, I am, and then equals the plus sign, not the equals. You have the same results, but now it will look a bit weird. But you can do that. Is it good practice? No, not at all. So let's just remove it. You have to understand how strings are handled in memory, so you will see why this is not a good thing to do. So before we move on, there is something that I would like to change here in our project. So when we started this project, we used Java 15. So if you are starting later, maybe a couple months, you probably are in a different version. But the market is not yet using any of these Java versions. People are still migrating to Java 11. Most of the companies are still using Java 8. So I would like you to understand all the differences between Java 8, kind of 9, 10, 11, 12, up to 15. But for that, we have to know what we can and what we cannot do. So let's do one little thing here that will make our life easier. So I'll give you one example. There is something that was created in Java 10. That is, if you have like a type that the compiler can identify for you, you do not have to type the type. Well, pretty weird, but imagine that, for example, even if you don't have this, and you take a look, you know that this is a string. And because of that, I will duplicate the line here with Control D. And it's like, okay, I know that this string is pretty like in my face. How can I tell the compiler to do that? Let me use name2 here. Let's use kind of last name. And last name, I think, are two separate words. Yeah, okay, let's use something different here. Address. I'm not sure if this is the correct address from Goku. So you know that address, it is, let me fix this, it's not 349, I think it's 439. Eastern is not side, this is district. So you know that this is a string. So in Java 10, they created something that is called var. So it is a keyword, and basically we can just use this when the compiler can identify what is the type. So if you are going to do a job search, or if you're going to work in a company and they are using Java 8, well, bad news for you, because you cannot use this nice feature. How can I know that? So let's do one quick change here. So just select your project and then go over by right clicking module settings, and then you here go here under project, and you see here that we have 14 for the project language level. I'm going to change this to Java 8, and then I'm gonna press apply, and I will double check if at my modules level I do have the same 8. Now look at this, we have a compilation error. Why? Because the language level should be set to at least 10. Now that is another advantage. Sometimes the companies, they will ask you, hey, can you do this assessment like in a job search using Java 8, but you do have Java 11 installed and you do not want to uninstall or change the Java home just for that assessment. You can do this. You set the language level, and when you send this test, make sure that you do not send the out folder, and by sending this at language level set to 8, you will make sure that you are not using any features that were added later. In this case, for example, var. So we are going to use kind of a timeline manner. We are going to go all the things from Java 8, and then it's easier to change and see what we have new from Java 9, 10, 11 up to 15. So this is what I wanted to tell you. I'm going to remove this guy because we're not going to use it now, and we are going to see the changes from Java 8 to 11 later in the course. So I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next video. Bye.